Big Mouth season 4 is out, and they on Monday said that they would share their thoughts on Big Mouth season 4, the show. So here they are, without further ado, to share their thoughts.
What's your hormone monster, Ruben?
I don't know.
John Oliver.
John Oliver.
Wait, are the hormone monsters just names of hormones, or are they?
No, it's kind of like a physical creature. It's like a metaphor thing.
So it could be called like. So what? It could be called like Billy or something. The hormone monster, or.
Well, that's one of the things that's annoying about the show. Is just like the wasted opportunity of concepts like that. But yeah, this is season 4. On Jar, we've talked about season 2, and I think that's the only time we've kind of delved into a video, and that was an as good as they say. And currently this season's sitting with an 88 on Metacritic. It's probably got like a perfect 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care to look it up right now. I wanted to talk about this season because I just think it's so bad, and it just can't keep getting away with it, you know. It's like the Breaking Bad. I just don't understand. The real breaking point for me was I like going on like really cringy subreddits, and the Big Mouth one is one of those. And even on the Big Mouth subreddit, on like the thread where they were talking about the new episodes, they were talking trash on it. So I'm just...
No way.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, why does anyone like this show? You know, like what the fuck is it about this show that people like connect to so much? And of course I made my own Big Mouth OC ready for this episode and everything. So I'm prepared to go in on this. But what is your top level thoughts of season 4, Jim?
The thing with Big Mouth is that every time a season comes out, you watch it and you're like, wow, that's really bad. And it's hard to gauge, like, if it is worse than it's ever been, or if this has
always been that bad.
Yeah, has it always been as bad as they say?
My gut tells me that the reason we didn't talk about season 3 was because it just didn't really annoy us as much. Like, it was just fine.
From memory. But the thing is, it's kind of that, I always forget the actual term, you know, when like somebody treats you terribly and then you end up like...
Oh, like gaslight.
Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, it kind of, in hindsight, feels like...
Did season 3 gaslight you?
Yeah, season 3 gaslight gave me Stockholm syndrome. Because like I thought, you know what, this show is sort of like, it's going in the right direction. Like it's getting slightly better. But no, I'm pretty sure I was just dead wrong with that.
Are they just completely out of ideas?
Yeah, I don't think, because like they, for example, they set up sort of a cliffhanger at the end of season 3, and clearly they didn't like think through what they were going to do next.
What was the cliffhanger? Remind me. I can't remember anything from season 3.
Nick Kroll and the other one,
Andrew Glauberman.
Yeah, Nick and Andrew fall out at the end. And it's like, Nick is going to summer camp, Andrew's staying at home. And then Andrew, in the first episode of season 4, just gets taken to the summer camp and like he's in the show.
What's the best way to do this? Should we go through just like the main characters and just what their journeys are in the season? Let's start with Nick then, Big Mouth himself. His kind of arc this season was mostly about this anxiety mosquito concept, which is they've been dabbling in these weird metaphors for the whole show, basically. There's like the depression kitty, the gratitoad, all sort of shit like that, all this random shit. And I just feel like it's incredibly clumsy and surface level, the way they deal with the heavy topics that everyone kind of circle jerks it for bringing forward and handling. And I don't know, like I just don't get who this show is for, because on one hand, the humor is so reliant on like shock and gross out stuff, which only 12-year-olds would enjoy. And on the other hand, there's the other side of the humor is completely reliant on references and just random shit like Family Guy tier humor. And in the middle of that, there's this kind of tale of puberty that I guess everyone can relate to.
Yeah, I reckon this show is designed for stupid adults.
I mean, yeah, that's one way to put it. It's like, I suppose it sounds condescending, but I don't know how else to really describe it.
Well, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's talking down to you.
Yeah, it treats you as if you're a child, as if you know?
And it treats itself as though it's like really smart.
Yeah, it is condescending in that way. So going back to this anxiety mosquito thing, where I think that stumbles, it's not actually really something the characters have to overcome beyond just like a bunch of vague jokes relating to the concept. And then at the very end, they're like, oh, actually, no, if you can come to terms with it and then overcome it. But on the journey to get to that ending, there's like really confusing stuff. Like they introduce the Gratitoad, which I already said about, and they kind of have a scene where the Gratitoad is fighting the anxiety mosquito in like this big Godzilla battle. And I was sat there just like, so what are you saying with this imagery? Are you saying that if you have gratitude, then that's the way of overcoming anxiety? But then it doesn't really settle on that, because then in the next scene, at the same time, Nick is like a ghost and he flies inside his own asshole, and that's how he like beats anxiety. It's really like stupidly convoluted and stupid and hard to follow on those lines. How did you feel about that stuff?
I think do you remember the scene where the Gratitoad is introduced?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the context is?
No. I watched it all in like a bunch, so it's kind of a blur.
Yeah. So season 4, episode 9, I believe, is when the Gratitoad is introduced. After all the main characters take some sort of drug and they're tripping.
That's right, yeah.
And then what's her name? Jess?
Jessie, yeah.
Is it Jess? Jessie,
Jessica Glazier.
She on this drug trip meets the Gratitoad. So to defeat anxiety, you've got to take a drug that makes you hallucinate a toad, and that toad will eat the mosquito that is your anxiety.
But then, but they abandon that whole Gratitoad thing with that ghost side of Nick, where like I guess they're trying to do the kind of intrusive, anxious thought thing. With like he's envisioning himself as like an adult, and he's not pleased with how he's envisioning it in his head, and like he overcomes it by embracing it. Do you remember in that last scene where he's like interacting with his ghost, and then he like flies up his asshole?
His asshole ghost.
Yeah, he goes into his asshole, and then in his asshole he goes into his asshole, and then hugs himself.
Yeah.
And then he beats anxiety.
But do you see? Am I stupid, or is that just incredibly convoluted and hard to understand, especially for like a 12-year-old who actually like the show is trying to, or maybe a bit older, like 13 or 14, early puberty stuff?
I think the metaphors are just really confused, because the point is that he's locked himself away, like the real him, the part of him that can show like sensitivity inside a version of himself, and like he's battling that. But then what's the point of the whole anxiety toad fight?
Well, yeah, I'm remembering season 3 now. That was the Shame Wizard one, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, that was fucking awful.
Another confusing thing where it's like, what? So Shame, because they're manifesting it in like beings that interact with some characters. It does trivialize it in a way and make it seem like something that it's not. Like and the way the depression kitty thing as well. How it just utterly simplifies it and makes it seem much easier to overcome than the actual affliction really is.
Yeah, with their whole condescending like messaging, I think that makes it.
Yeah, because it feels condescending because a lot of the humor's condescending. It's that Family Guy abrasive style, where it's always
not even just in terms of the humor. The way like when Jessie has the Gratitoad, she's like, oh wow, it really is this easy to defeat like mental illness in terms of depression and anxiety. Like that's a terrible message.
Yeah, and honestly, Nick isn't even the one that bothered me the most. It was actually the Andrew story that bothered me the most this season. I think Andrew and Jay. I think if we move on to Andrew then, because I think he's actually like the funniest character on the show. Him and his family. He is actually like a pervert in the show, and the way they do.
He's more than that.
He's like really sexually deranged, and they play it for humor in a show where they're like trying to teach you about things with Jessie and Missy. They're way more serious and treat it as if it's a much more like real problem. But then with Andrew, who's like, they make a joke out of this like obsessive wanking ritual thing he has that winds up with him jerking in front of his dead granddad at a funeral, and it never has any consequence. It never means anything. So it's just like, so that one's a punchline, but the anxiety mosquito shit, like, that's like serious, even though it's like it's like so confusing, like what's comedy, what's supposed to be like interpreted seriously, and like what is what. That was the scene, because that character's been getting creepier and creepier, and there's like the whole cousin thing which came in a previous season, and I just don't really know what you're supposed to take away from it, you know, aside from if it was just about like edgy humor, then I could kind of understand that on a certain level, like it's just gross out edgy humor stuff, but it's the fact they're kind of selling it as if this is educational in a way. But like, if young boys are watching that, what are they supposed to take away from this Andrew character? Because they
I guess the moral is that if like it's normal to jerk off in front of your dead family members,
like, what is it? Like, it's not funny and it's not instructive, and it's that really confused me, because they'd been pushing it with that character for a while, but they'd never taken it quite that far, you know? He's been just getting worse and worse with that stuff, and just the fact it has no consequence in the show. Like, his family members even they comment on it, saying like, what, are you like are you like a pervert? A sex freak? And then it's like never comes up again. Like, I just don't understand what they're going for with that whole angle.
Yeah, it really muddies like the water. Like, what if you are using this as like a platform to like give some message about like mental health, or they go into race stuff with other characters.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Coming out as gay to family members. All this stuff is given like respect, you know. But you sort of pull the rug from beneath that by having one of the characters you're meant to like doing just the most fucked up shit.
Yeah, but then it's like, it's confusing, because what are you supposed to interpret from it? Is it just a joke? I guess from the writer's perspective, that's just like a punchline. It's just an edgy Family Guy punchline.
Yeah, it might just be filler shit.
Saying filler shit, there literally was his other like mini story where he had like shit building up inside him that manifested and like came alive. Do you remember that? And which was like a metaphor for him holding on to shit, and he needed to let go, like literally, which was, you know, again with the gross out stuff, they really, like, there's always been gross out humor, a lot of it, but I remember when I first started watching this season, I got a couple episodes in, I was just like, I don't remember feeling this physically repulsed, just by, it's an ugly show already, and I don't mind some of the ugly topics having like gross out jokes to do with like periods and shit like that, like I think that's fine, but when it's like talking shit, manifesting, and they do stuff with Jay where there's like, it's not even to do with like puberty shit really, they just like have a pool party in like the mud, and there's this recurring joke where they just keep licking each other's feet, like the mud off so character Nick Kroll also voices that it's just so irritating and grating to listen to, but Jay's girlfriend, he keeps licking her feet and they're covered in mud, and it's like, the joke is that it's just gross, and they're minging. Yeah, it's just confused and all over the place, and it just can't keep track of what it's like trying to do.
Yeah, I feel like they, with quite a few of the characters, like Jay and I mean Andrew, past the episode Poop Madness, they don't really, they have these characters and feel as though they need to be in the show.
Yeah.
But they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, because Jessie, her story was one that I thought was all right. I thought it was fine, because it was kind of about her learning the way that men can sort of try and manipulate women to get what they want, and how and where to kind of draw the line with stuff like that, which I didn't really have a problem with. That didn't bother me. It's just the eye-rolly shit comes in when, you know, just bad hormone monster jokes and just awful reference humor and bad punchlines and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then, what did you think of the Jess one, actually? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It was totally fine. It's probably the best use of her in a season yet. Because I remember her stories being pretty, I don't know, I just wasn't very engaged.
Yeah, and Jay, I don't know, Jay has always been the one that we've found the most funny, I think, like collectively. I don't really know why. They've really like doubled down on the pillow thing and that dog joke, which is really like Family Guy-ish to me, where it's like, oh yeah, we found something that like people really, really love. Let's just do it just every other episode now with that dog.
Yeah, it's catchphrase humor.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same punchline every
Just
time.
like Archer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar.
That's a show that died a death.
Yeah, no, and even I went on like an old episode of Archer and was like, I just don't even, I can't with this
I
anymore.
don't know why I found it funny to begin with.
Yeah, but with Jay, he is kind of the grossest character, especially now. And his thing is kind of in line with Jesse's, where there's like there's a scene with another metaphor where he's like fingering his girlfriend, and the metaphor is like a castle with a dragon, and it's like, oh, the dragon's being too rough. You've got to, and there's all this shit like that. I don't know, just maybe it's a real thing where like people are just completely inept and can't communicate. Because that's what they're trying to get across with that relationship, is the peer pressures from like their family and the people around them need to just kind of be ignored, and it be about just the communication of it and to talk about what you like and what you want, which is fine. I have no problem with that message. It's just so fucking gross the way they do it. It's so off-putting. With like Nick Kroll like voicing this repugnant character, and then Jay Pillowfuck Bilzerian, is that what he's called? Just being disgusting. Yeah. Like that was just a bit much. They just went so far with the gross out shit.
Yeah, so like that was really the highlight of season 1, the whole pillow thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about that, because it is like a joke with like young boys like just fucking anything. So him fucking the pillow was like a take on that. Yeah. And then it being like,
I think that actor is like, I don't know, I just find him quite funny.
Yeah, he's funny in like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a lot of sitcoms and stuff like that. We need to talk about Missy. I don't really know how to broach this one. Do you want to try it, Jim? We'll actually start with the drama of, because the character's black, right? But the actor who voices her is not. And I remember reading an article saying that when all the drama was happening earlier in 2020, I remember her tweeting or saying that she wasn't going to do it anymore or something like that, or reading an article that she was not going to voice the character anymore, but I guess not. She returned, and there are a lot of like meta jokes where,
well, I don't know if you noticed, but like in the last episode or two, the voice actress changed.
Oh really? For Missy?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, because obviously she like released that tweet when they were almost done with this season. Oh. I guess.
I did pick up that I think some of the pickup audio was like recorded in shittier quality in like COVID situations, but
so they got this other actress doing like an impression of.
Oh, is that okay? That makes sense.
It's really bizarre. I noticed like. It's really bizarre.
So, but the main kind of, she gets her own episode where her character is mixed race, where her mum is white and her dad is black. And she goes to like some family members who are not happy with, they think that they haven't taught her culture, and try and, introduce her to things that they think her mum is kind of suppressed, which, is fair enough. Like, you want to be broad with that kind of thing and open to your family's culture and everything, but it's where it comes to a head that I feel weird about it, because Missy's dad in the show is kind of like a dorky nerd, right? And it kind of ends with him saying that like it was wrong of him to, like, he can't be himself or something. I'm not explaining it very well. What did you think of?
I don't know if they're going to take it further, if like...
Well, yeah, it seemed like a point where it's like, okay, that's like a jumping off point for another like lesson thing.
Yeah, because she says to her dad, because he is like a nerdy black guy, because he doesn't quote unquote dress like a black guy or talk like a black guy, she like says to him that he's not black at a point, I think.
Yeah.
And then like that conflict just ends.
Yeah.
And her story is resolved.
Well, yeah, that's right, because her mum comes in and says, No, yeah, I love him for exactly who he is. But then the other family members kind of disagree, and then you're right, it does just end. It's like, okay. Well,
yeah, I feel like that's kind of a strange message. If that is the end of this plot line, you know, are you saying like black people have to fit into a certain like?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, have to check certain boxes or something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking know, bro. The Hormone Monster is funny though, as
Hormone
always.
Monster always funny.
And the meta humor.
Rick the Hormone Monster's always funny.
Yeah, is that the one that's like the old one?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because they got rid of him, I think, in season 2 or something. But I guess he's like a fan favorite who had to come back.
Yeah, he's got his catchphrases and stuff.
And the musical numbers, why is that such a big part of the show? Like,
yeah, the songwriting is awful.
Yeah, they're not catchy, they're not good songs, they're not memorable, they're really short half the time.
And they're not funny.
Yeah, and they're not funny. So every time they do them, it's like an eye roll, like, are you fucking joking? And when the show ends on that Hormone Monster with a song, it's just like disgusting to listen to and watch it, and it's just not funny. Maybe if you find it funny and this is like hilarious to you, then it would work, but I don't know. The other seasons, I did laugh a few times at some of the jokes in some of the previous seasons, but I must have had like less than 4 laughs this entire season.
Yeah, I'm right with you. It's definitely the least funny season.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually one other character that gets quite a bit of screen time. Is it Matthew? Andrew.
Oh, so he's also called Andrew.
Wait. Oh, no, sorry. No, it is Matthew.
Okay.
Andrew is the name of that actor, the voice of Matthew.
Fucking Christ. Anyway, whatever. Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew. So he's got his coming out storyline, which that stuff is like a different show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it becomes a drama.
Yeah, it's one of the only longer running pieces of drama, I guess, in the season, kind of. Like,
yeah.
It's like a spin on what you'd normally expect, with the dad being the one who is having a problem with the son possibly being gay. It's the mum that's more against it, and that's kind of like a reveal that the dad doesn't really care and always knew all along, and it's more...
Yeah, because he's shown to be like a sort of military-looking dude. Like,
yeah, it's like the...
old-fashioned.
Yeah. And again, that stuff didn't bother me. In fact, that was sort of the only thing I really liked, that and the Jesse stuff.
No, I agree. But when the show is like a light switch, it clicks for funny or it clicks for serious, and it doesn't know how to like blend these things.
Yeah, but it makes it. It never works though. It never works because of that.
Yeah, because they totally contradict each other. It has
the insane pace where moments are never... You can never like settle into anything or like enjoy a moment for what it is, because they're always just clicking through it onto the next thing, onto the next punchline. It's about the next reference. Yeah. It's about the next joke. It's about the next like Hormone Monster quip. It's fucking just... It's exhausting to watch. I find it knackering.
Yeah, they use the Hormone Monster characters. It's really quite embarrassing. Like in the serious scenes, the Hormone Monster is the thing that is meant to like come in and sort of give you some levity.
Yeah.
But the jokes never land, and then it just makes like it makes a somber scene just fall flat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's just...
If anything, you just cringe.
Yeah. It's so frustrating because every season has basically had the same issues, and it's just stayed the same. It's like not evolved in any way. In fact, it's almost just becoming a parody of itself the longer it's going. Seth Rogen shows up for the first few camp episodes, and there's a trans character where they do something slightly interesting with that, where Seth Rogen's kind of like, he's into her, but he doesn't want people to know. So it's kind of about illuminating that kind of side of it. But again, it's just like at the same time, Andrew's got like a shit monster inside of him that's like screaming at him. And it is very inconsistent in that way.
Yeah, on top of that, there's all the random XD shit.
That's a huge chunk of the humor, yeah.
Yeah, total non-characters just having like one line that's meant to make you laugh, and it never ever does.
Yeah, just non sequiturs left and right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through the episodes to Poop Madness. Oh yeah, the Cafeteria Girls episode.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was a weird one. Where like they really make Nick and Andrew quite unlikable, and they're like the protagonists. Andrew in particular, we've already explained that he's just like he's really fucking creepy at this point. And they like try to swap girlfriends because they're not into the girls that they picked or whatever, which was like a weird...
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I think goes over my head because I just don't understand a lot of like American school culture, obviously, where they're like... they're in like grade 8, I think, and the grade 7 like kids like come into the school, and there's this whole thing about like, oh yeah, let's choose our grade 7s that we want and shit, and it's like this weird like kind of predatory thing that they do, but they make the girls like really horny, but then it's like revealed that they're part of their own show to say that it's not just about the guys and that the women have autonomy and that their feelings matter.
Yeah, even that way of framing it doesn't really make sense when you do, like, your show is about 2 boys.
Well, yeah, it's like you can have the characters make mistakes and be assholes and stuff like that, but they're not really growing or changing that much. They're just...
Yeah, I don't feel like they learn their lesson.
No. Especially with Andrew, he actually like, he seems like someone who would grow up to be like a danger to society. You know, he's like escalating in such a way.
He already is.
Yeah, he's like the kind of guy that's going to get caught like flashing people in like town and like jerking off in public and stuff like that. He's like, maybe that's what they're doing, and it would be like... But again, if they did do that, it would be like...
At least they'd follow through.
Hardcore, like kind of really... all over the place shit they're doing. Yeah, there was the whole stuff with the grade 9 guy who's like an arty, you know. We already kind of touched on that with Jesse.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand that episode that was like in the future with Nick Starr. What do you think the whole point of that was?
Filler.
Yeah,
it was.
It has no original bone in its body. Like every single like setup or framing, like episodes like that, it's just like, well, every other adult animated sitcom has done this shit, like, and they've done it way better, so much better. Like there's all those Simpsons episodes with like the future shit. South Park has done it. It's like it does just feel like filler. That one especially did.
Yeah, because I guess the point of the episode is to establish Nick Starr. It's like he's what is going to happen if Nick continues down this bad path.
Yeah.
But I find it kind of confusing that like he gets turned into that character by anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a very good representation of how anxiety affects you throughout your life.
The average anxious person is going to wind up being like an
superstar that goes on stage and on TV like every day. How does he end up there?
Mm-hmm.
It's a genuine struggle, like the idea of like locking away your emotions and stuff. But I don't think using like anxiety as the figurehead of that that doesn't work to me.
No, because they don't feel like characters. It feels like, right, what like mental illness have we not included yet?
Yeah.
And they've got like their list and they're just gradually including them, you know, like there'll probably be like an autism thing like next season. And then another like fillery episode, the 4 stories about hand stuff, that was almost saying with the castle, and you know, it's just like they do something similar in the previous seasons from memory with the like different stories at the same, like 3 different stories in one. Little mini filler shit that's supposed to teach you about, you know, sex etiquette, basically. Which again is like, yeah, I guess that makes sense if you're like 13, you know. Yeah, and then the funeral, which was where I was just like, I just don't understand what they're doing with these characters at this point. Like, it is just, racked with guilt, Andrew tries to keep his urges in check, but he doesn't know. He kind of fails at it and is caught. But then the next episode is just they all take drugs and
become better people.
Yeah.
So surely this show isn't aimed at young people.
It's a conspiracy by Big Pharma.
Yeah, this is what I'm so confused by, because every time you bring up all the characters are all young teenagers, obviously, so people can just say, well, yeah, it's designed for them. But then you have so much humor that's like the Family Guy shit, the reference shit, the meta shit, and the random shit. I just don't get what it's going for.
Yeah, it tries so much. It's like it spreads itself so thin that none of it is.
But I guess, are we in the minority in thinking that? I mean, critically, like, this does very well. The
audience rating summary 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, like the audience ratings, they're only in the range of like 300 votes, like an episode, but it will lean, average of like an 8 out of 10 sort of thing.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I really don't fucking know. Yeah, in that final episode, what are you gonna do? That's the one with the introspective Toad fighting the mosquito shit and Matthew coming out to his dad and that payoff.
Yeah, and I find this season much more like personally offensive.
What way?
Because I can relate to anxiety.
Yeah.
Like the other stuff they've combated, I don't know as intimately, but like I especially with the depression kitty, I think that it doesn't really get much worse than that, but somehow they made it at least just as bad.
Yeah.
In terms of representation.
Yeah, it's hard to speak with authority about like the gay characters, the trans characters, the race issues and stuff. We obviously can't speak with any intimacy on that. So it'd be interesting if people in the comments, maybe if they really connect to that shit, can say. But any other major points?
Well,
I mean, how does it sound to you, Ruben? You want to check it out?
It sounds like something I would say, I'm going to try and watch a bunch of this, and the only way I'd get through it is if I was just like drunk.
No, I discovered this feature on Netflix where you can play something at like 1.5 times speed.
Oh, really? I knew that they were going to do that. I didn't realize it was a feature already.
Yeah, I saw it by accident, and I thought, I can get through this shite like so much faster if I just put it on fast mode. But I did that, and like the speed at shit was happening because the
show already feels like it's on 1.5
stallion, and I put it up to 1.5, and it was like, the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
I just fucking blasted out my mind.
It doesn't sound like something I'd want to watch. I think if they were to do a season on people with really fat, plump nuts, then maybe I'd watch it because I could like relate.
Yeah.
I'm just talking complete shit.
It's lame because there's a season. I can't remember what it was fucking called. Euphoria. That's what I was trying to remember. There's a show, an HBO show that came out in 2019 called Euphoria. It's about high school students as they grapple with issues of drugs, sex, and violence. And it's like 13 Reasons Why done well sort of thing.
Right.
But it also obviously has a lot of parallels with something like Big Mouth. But at the same time, it also has like a narrative that's like continuing and isn't just like throwaway. I know it's apples and oranges to compare like an animated adult show, like comedy, to like a drama, but I just wanted to point something out that, if you think Big Mouth sucks, maybe give this show a chance. If you like the ideas of it, you might actually get something out of that. But yeah, it is a ripe sort of like idea, and explaining the shit to people in a constructive way can be really cool, but I don't think this is it for me anyway. Like I would not like if I had like a kid and they got to like 13, it's not like, well, Big Mouth is gonna like teach them like sex ed shit. So I don't, it's like I don't know if it's really gonna do that.
Read a book.
Yeah, read a wiki article or something instead. Anything's better than this shit. Yeah, I mean, it's got like 58 more seasons coming, so people love it. They just can't get enough of it.
It is pretty funny when the hormone monster goes
It's like I think the hormone monster thing might be the biggest missed opportunity to me. Where like the way they kind of share hormone monsters is like it's confusing. 'Cause it's like
they fucked it. They just totally fucked it from the get-go.
Because I think from the premise when it's described, you imagine like everyone has like their own hormone monster because everyone goes through puberty in a different way.
That's what I thought the whole time. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, you would.
No, like there are like 3 or 4, no, 5.
No, there's loads. There's loads. They've got like a whole realm, and they go to work. They go to like the office, and they spend time with their designated kids.
Instead of going for the obvious route, they made this whole like law thing where they have they've got like an office building where they like it's just like a.
And there's like the Chad one, the
season 2 had the like really young,
the old guy one,
the like immature one, and you're like it almost like writes itself, like in your head. But the way they follow through with it is just, it's all about like the gross out sex jokes basically. And if that's
it's all about the he said, she said, she said, he said.
It's all about the seashells on the seashore.
I'm looking at like the posters now. Like for season 3, on the poster it says equal parts shock and awe. So like they know that they're like writing it to be shocking instead of just including like the gross parts of puberty. They're just kind of really embracing the grossness of it, and I just think they took it too far with the season.
There's even a joke in the show where it's like it's genuinely one of the least funny things. They're like, you need more than just gross out to be funny. Anyway, I'm gonna go chug all my cum that's been in my sock for the past 3 days.
Yeah, they back. Kind of like.
I imagine it's for a very particular type of American millennial.
Yeah, I think. I think
a millennial being 30-year-olds and sort of like 27 to 40.
Yeah, I think they see the like heart to and the positivity behind some of the things that we did say. Like with Jess's thing about learning like self-respect and shit. Like obviously shit like that is good. And we're not saying that like that is what is bad about it. It's just the execution on these themes that I think is just so fucking clumsy and like just doesn't work for me. Any final thoughts, Jim?
Yeah, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, what is the weirdest thing about it is as much as like I meme it and like make fun of it, like I've still watched 4 seasons of it.
I know. What? Why? The fucking day after it came out,
it's basically the equivalent feeling of like going on Instagram Explore. It's like so much. You're just bombarded with so much shit constantly.
Yeah.
You look at your watch and it's like, oh, it's been like fucking 3 hours. It's like the equivalent of that.
It's the perfect thing to watch when the depression kitty is weighing you down.
No, because I watched a bunch of episodes. I got a glass of whiskey, ran a bath, and just sat there sweating with Big Mouth on the speaker, trying not to vomit. Yeah, I don't know how it can get much worse than this one.
Yeah, but I'll watch the next season. I fucking know I can't not. I don't know what it is.
You can't keep getting away with this. You said it earlier, and I just.
Ruben, what do you rate it out of 10 then?
Well, honestly, it sounds like a real solid, like a 5. It sounds like a real 5 out of 10. I don't think I could watch it because it really is one of the ugliest shows ever, and not in like that Rick and Morty way. It's Rick and Morty isn't even ugly, really. But Big Mouth just looks so horrible.
Yeah, it looks horrible, and it's like it's not a thing where you could have had sort of a stylistic take on that with like the art direction, where if all the adults were like drawn in like a different style where they were like really clean or something, and all the kids going through puberty were like a really rough, kind of messy, gross looking art style, like that's like a cool idea to me. But they don't do that. It's just like everyone is just fucking repulsive and disgusting.
The creepiest character in the show is Nick's dad.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Terrifying.
Yeah, he looks terrifying, and like his character, I guess, he's like really a bit too open about his like sex life.
Yeah.
With his own family, and it's really like fucking weird. Yeah, again, that's one where it's like it's just about the jokes. It's just about the gross excess of it. So
it's not about the he said. Why do I keep saying that? She said bullshit.
Thanks for listening to this one, everyone. Tell us your thoughts on Big Mouth in the comments, and have a happy New Year.
They thoughts on the show.
Have a Big Mouth kind of year.
For watching.
Sing the Big Mouth out intro.
I'm going through changes
in my life.
I'm going through changes.
Let me sing the cyberpunk song.
The one final thing I'll just chuck on the end, the meta humor. I just can't. Like I feel like it wouldn't be in the show if Rick and Morty wasn't as popular as it is. I really feel.
Yeah, Rick and Morty and Deadpool. Holy fuck! It's actually. Wow. I've said enough about Deadpool and shit.
Cleanse your palate each time they do one or something. Is I need a break or something.
I just that joke has just been ground into the fucking dirt. You know, like that idea. There's nothing clever about it. It's not like a part of the show and the way it tells its story or anything. It's just Rick and Morty and Deadpool do it, and it's like popular at the moment.
I think that in Deadpool, in its comic form, it's
the character's designed around it.
Merit to it. You know, I like the idea of a comic book character breaking out of his panels and shit. But yeah,
that's what I mean. Though the whole that's like part of the design of that whole idea. Like you could do Big Mouth without having the meta humor easily, and I think it'll be better for it. Oh well, suck on these.
I'm going through James's
James's underwear drawer.